And then we should pop up as candidates in here. So here we go. As far as I know, that should be working now. And we should be able to get started, which would be nice. Gonna get my overlays back on again. All right. So I kind of had the session set up so that there was something I could talk about if we didn't have anything to talk about. But I did want to ask you in terms of what you've been working on and how you're doing and what kind of things you've been working through, so that we can make sure if there's anything interesting we can talk about it.
Oh, well, I mean, I don't have any questions as of yet. What I've been working on since the game jam has just been going back to blueprints and trying to get my skill back up with blueprints. So I've been playing a lot around with building a horde mode. Mostly, I mean, I don't have any artwork, so it's all gray boxed and mostly game mode blueprints and setting up the timers and enemy classes and stuff like that. And then this week I just coworker and mine are going to start a little co-op game project. So going forward, I'll be doing that. It's kind of like a horde mode. It's basically like a Call of Duty zombies map, except that the zombies are like puzzles. Like we had this idea that it's like a haunted carnival. So like the carnival rides are like zombies come to life, but like one might be the ring toss, and you have to like throw rings on the zombie for it to die, and one could have balloons all over it, and you have to throw darts and pop all the balloons before it'll die and stuff like that.
That's good. It's like mini games involving your survival.
Right. So instead of just like shooting it all with bullets, it'll be like turning it into kind of a puzzle. So be kind of fun. We'll start that today. We found some fab assets. Other than that, no, I don't have any. I don't have anything yet, but I will.
Okay. I mean, it was fun to talk about that idea. I mean, there's definitely some silly. I mean, it's a bit like zombies and the flowers and the plants versus zombies.
Yeah, yeah.
You can get into more satire kind of ridiculousness.
Yeah, it's fun like that, especially since I mean we have like a $250 budget. We set it. We're like, okay, we're gonna see how far we get and see if we can release it. I mean, we've never shipped a game, so here we go.
Right. That's right. Yeah.
That'll be fun. And I'll definitely be as we get into production, I know that there will be things popping up that I'll be like messaging you about, like, hey, so
good. That's what I'm here for. And that's what this session is for too. To bring interesting problems. So the one issue that came up earlier, I think it was last night actually, somebody was trying to deal with retargeting in the GameKit. That is the kit that game design students have to work with, which is actually what I have open right now. And it provides you like, access to basic mechanics and stuff. And this one's running in 5.6. So the question was really just about how do I get this character or a custom character onto this particular setup? And the character that I'm jumping around with is the character that has all the animations. So I could be wrong about that actually. It might be live retargeted. Anyways, so the discussion went down the road of how do I retarget, or at least what's the process? And there's obviously this is a huge topic, goes into like thousands of different directions of challenges, but it also corresponded with or correlated with the content that's changed in 5.6. They changed the interface a bit for retargeting, so it was something that I had to make new content updates for anyway, the course content, to deal with the fact that how does the new interface work, but also what has changed in terms of, like, I know some of the techniques for matching body positions and stuff has been improved. So I wanted to cover that anyways and talk about it and go through it. So I thought maybe this would be a good topic to talk about today during the session, if nobody had anything interesting to bring up. The other topic that I've been bouncing around was working with doing the metahuman clothing pipeline, the new metahuman clothing pipeline. and just go through, go through that walk, because I've done it a couple times now, so I kind of have a sense of what the workflow looks like. But yeah, it is way more complicated than, and it's not only complicated, but like even just updating assets. Like you make a change to clothing, you want to re-put it through the system, you have to go through a series of updates and recalculations so that it actually reflects on the character generator, so that you can then export it over. Like just like yeah, right away you're thinking, isn't there like a script or something that you could just run that would just like do all these things for you? Like, why do they have to be so many steps?
Yeah, that's a deep topic right there.
Yeah.
Especially since I was just scoping over Fab the last few days, it's like looking for a human character is pretty tough because most of them come without clothing, so it's like really tough to like integrate that now. So
Yeah. I mean, you still technically have access to the old clothing from the other system, but it isn't, the dimensions of the new base character is different. It's not quite the same proportions, so it's not just a 1-to-1 anymore. You have to still do some conversion sculpting and at least understand what the differences are, just so you get so that the clothing is now procedural. I mean, that's essentially what they're trying to get to down, so that it doesn't matter how you deform your character, it will always match the clothing. And I kept thinking that the pipeline is going to get changed or improved, and I still wonder, but it didn't seem to change at all between 5.6 and 5.7. So I suspect that they aren't really interested. It isn't broken, essentially. Like this was the intention, and maybe there'll be ways to make it easier. But you always get kind of worried when you're in this situation where you're trying to develop something to make it easier, but Unreal maybe has a totally different roadmap of how they want to deal with that. So then you solve the problem, but then they solve it as well, and it makes your solution useless. So you want to hesitate a little bit and go, okay, well, what do they really want to do right now? Because I don't urgently need this fixed. But for students, it's definitely one of those, you build a metahuman, you want clothing on it, and it's like, well, that's harder than it looks.
Yeah, any small startup projects, anyone trying to do quick game design setups for all their projects, it's going to be hard to find characters unless you just use what's available, unfortunately.
And so just on Tuesday, they had Epic did a training session for training partners. And so for 2 hours, we kind of went through, and it was specifically around animation and the animation that changes that have happened recently. It was really informative. They don't record them or distribute them, so I have to like remember it and then
soak it all in.
Yeah. And then regurgitate it all out again. But what they talked about, what was really nice about it was it was completely focused on animation, which it just goes to show how serious they are about making sure that animation is one of the important aspects that they want to try to get over this.
Implement into the engine so you could do it in the engine.
There's this giant hurdle that you have to overcome to get animations to be working in the game, and they're trying to make it so that it's easy but also, or easier but also capable of doing things that have never been possible with game engines traditionally. So that's a major step that happened in 5.6 and also 5.7, and apparently 5.8 they're talking about even more fairly significant updates and changes that they're trying to put through. So it makes it really difficult as an educator, obviously, because it's like, well, what are you doing in 5.8 that I need to worry about? But what was neat about that 2-hour presentation was that they really talked about, they brought in a whole bunch of different people from studios who have worked on projects that are like short films and creating content that is in Unreal. And what was neat was that they all had their own perspective. They talked about their struggles and their challenges, but they also, some of them came from like a while ago, and their pipeline that they're building was going through the versions of 5.2, 5.3, and they had limitations and they had struggles. So they were still working with the, animate in Maya, export out into Unreal, and then use it from there. And in order for that pipeline to work, they had to create all these like custom little scripts and programs and tools to be able to like export, import, have it so that it properly transfers all the data. So the animators don't worry about all the technical stuff. They're just animating Maya, and then the asset ends up being plopped into the world, into Unreal through iterations without having to, go through all the stumbling blocks. So they made all these custom little tools. And then other groups who were working with more recent versions, like they were showing off how they were doing it in 5.6, they were animating it directly inside of the engine. And it makes it so much more straightforward, because now what you see is what you get. There's no translation. You don't have to jump between softwares. And they're talking about how important that is, and how much like this is where the value proposition is that you don't have to animate inside of another program and then convert it. So what I found took away was, because one of the problems that I have with all these new tools is that I haven't tested them, like the stuff that came out 5.6. I mean, there's definitely some changes. The stuff that's in 5.7, very interesting, but there's, Unreal has a track record of making fancy features and fancy tools, and then they just kind of like, they're too technically challenging to use. Nobody ever touches them. One of them, in a great comparison here, is getting physics to work on animations. So having a character be able to move with an animation driven, and then all of a sudden they have like a physics body that sort of interacts. And like over the years, they've come up with solution after solution, and you can see it in the content samples example pack of like all the different, here is physics, here is animation, physics, but nobody does it because it's so complicated and it's so restrictive in terms of an animator's pipeline. So what happened in this version was that they added the chaos physics into the control rig wiring. So now, I think this is in 5.7, you can actually connect, as part of your rig, you can connect it into the chaos physics system, so that your character will do the control rig, will drive it, but also will know when there's physics elements necessary. It will react to things in the real world. So, if your character walks into a wall, it will react to the wall, but also still maintain its character. And so apparently it's pretty easy, pretty fun to use. And so that's something that, as someone like myself trying to look at this and go, okay, well, that sounds great. That sounds like an excellent solution. But how easy is it to implement? How easy is it to use? And you have to test it and play with it. And then you'll find out really from the industry whether that they implement it actually uses it. Like constraints in Sequencer, for example, they came out with constraints, and it's like, this is constraints. And then all these people used it and went, wow, this is really not that easy to use. I'm just going to go back to attaching things. And that ended up being the pipeline that they stuck with. So, and then over time, they keep going, okay, we've fixed the constraints. These constraints are better now. And then you're like, okay, I'm trying them. And you're like, this is still really hard to use. So I think there's elements of that happening all across the board, and you have to kind of navigate what works and what doesn't work. But what was nice about that meeting was that we were actually talking to people who were literally animating inside of these pipelines and workflows, and
nice.
creating great results, but also being realistic about it and talking about, well, sometimes you get great frame rate in the viewport, but sometimes the frame rate will get choppy, and you have to optimize your viewport settings so that you can still get that fast feedback. But at the same time, they're like, I have saved such mountains of time not having to play blast my work to be able to see how the animation is. If you can get the frame rate to be really fast, you can watch your animation you can play it back really quick, those are the subtle things that people don't usually talk about as an animator. Usually you have, or as an animator, you would talk about it, but as somebody who's technically looking at it, they're like, oh, here's a feature, here's a thing. But like to actually use it in practice, you start to find out where are the actual struggle points and frustrations, and then comparing it to how were you doing it before versus how you're doing it now, where are the benefits. And like there's a lot to it. Even just one of the examples was video reference, trying to use video reference when you're animating. So you capture your videos, you want to see your video while you're animating so that you can compare, and this is something you can do in Maya. and they had a feature in 5.2 or 5.3 where you can easily throw a video into the Unreal, and video will go on a plane, and the plane will, the material of the plane will project the video, and it worked, but it worked kind of slow and clunky. And now they came up with another solution, which is like a media playing panel, like a panel
Okay.
in your one of these panels or something, and it would let you keep it completely separate from your gameplay and your viewport. It would just be like a little video player inside of Unreal's panels, and you would just slide it to the side and put it there and have the video scrub it. It would scrub with your timeline so that you could still get that one-to-one with your timeline. The playback is nice and easy. You can hide it or bring it back. It doesn't mess with the objects in your viewport and your scene and stuff. So those are the little subtle step improvements that I think are critical for making a mainstream pipeline inside of Unreal, but it's what they're really focusing on, and they're really putting a lot of attention to. So I really think that we're rapidly getting to a stage where the struggle points we had yesterday are no longer struggle points today. So
okay.
But that's every time they come up with a new version, you got to test it, try it, see what it's like. So I know what 5.5 feels like to animate, but I haven't tried it in 5.6 or 5.7 yet. So I'm still got to
right. And if they're talking about 5.8, it's like, well, should I wait or should I play with 5.7?
Yeah, or or what am I doing that will I don't know whether it's irrelevant, but it's going to get disrupted by having a big change that's going to happen like that.
Right.
Usually the changes are pretty compatible as we move up versions, but sometimes like MetaHuman, it just
that's the big one. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, oh, forget everything you did before. Do it this way now. Anyways, so there I got to talk about that part. I actually forgot I had gone to that meeting, so it's good.
Nice.
I was so busy thinking about
Retargeting. Jog the memory.
Yeah. Like, oh yeah, that's a thing we did. And I definitely, for me as an animator, this is like really exciting because it's like, oh yeah, this is exactly the area that matters to me, and it's solving problems and making progress that, we're breaking new ground, in my opinion, for a lot of this stuff.
That's exciting to hear. Yeah. I mean, I'm still very new at it, but that's exciting to hear for someone who knows what they're talking about.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it still requires a lot of work and a lot of practice and skills and everything, but
everything does.
Yeah, there has been a road not that long ago where animating on Unreal has been very painful, and it's getting better all the time. And it's like, where are we right now? I don't know, but like we're getting better all the time. So it's a good thing.
Good to hear. That's good to hear. Yeah, because it already takes a lot of hours to make something look good. So if we can make tools that makes your guys' life easier, then that's what we want.
And it expands what the richness of your scenes are. You can have your game can have a fully interesting dynamic animation system, characters interacting. If you take away the pain, you're just going to add more of all this like beautification of whatever it is you're doing.
Right, you'll have more time to animate, and instead of like taking a month or several months to build all the tools for the overhead, then it's like, well, now you could just keep animating.
Yeah, exactly. And explore in directions that have always been sort of limiting in an interactive environment or whatever. So you can really start trying to find cool ways of doing it. So I think to me that's what's exciting. But it's like animating is hard. So I know that there's still a bit of a road there. Yeah.
It is.
Okay, so what we got? Oh yeah, what we got in here was we got our character. The main character is the
child class.
Yeah, this is the he is in this case, I believe, getting retargeted on the fly. That's from the SK Mini. So it's doing a little hack trick. This is something that Jason Barlow talked about in a thread this morning. So I was like, oh, I didn't realize that's how they had it set up. So
I think I just got rid of my old GameKit, but it was in 5.5. So I'm curious to see where this goes with the newer GameKit.
Yeah, and like I think the discussion that was happening was, should we move this up to 5.7? And apparently, if you just try to open it in 5.7, nothing loads. So they have
Ooh,
to go in there and make a couple fixes. But um, the intention, my answer to that was, it's always best to try to work with the latest versions because, in the end of the day, students are always going to try to, they're going to click on the latest version. They're going to work with it. And
right.
what's the point of trying to teach them the old workflow when technically, inevitably, we're going to be in the new workflow? There used to be arguments, and there still is valid arguments that you'll go in the industry and they're probably still working on 5.2 or 5.3 or something because it's like they just can't move up that fast, especially near the end of a product. But at the same time, what's nice is you get to see a comparison of where things are going to go. So, like, if you know how to do the latest retargeting, then at least you know what could be when you start looking at the older versions of retargeting.
Interesting. Yeah.
But the big
Yeah,
jump
there's
was 5.6.
yeah, the 5.6, which is funny because it's like we're all talking about 5.6. There's several games coming out this year that you're wondering, like, I wonder what version they're going to use because it's
Mm,
like the games that have been in production for several years.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. No, it's
yeah.
right, and that's exactly what happens. Even with those short films I was talking about before, um, they they got into they got stuck because they're like, it's too risky for us to move to the next version of Unreal
Mm.
because we, could potentially break a lot of things that we just don't have time to go
Yeah,
back and
no
fix.
time, no budget to go back and fix. Yeah.
Yeah, and like I mean, you can jump to 5.7 and go, oh, everything's opening fine, it looks fine, yeah, good, and then you get into a, oh wait, this broke, and then it's like too late, we've already done work at the
Yeah.
5.7, we're stuck, we can't go back. It's like, oh, I didn't notice that though. So it does take a lot of risk to jump versions at the end. Okay, so what they're doing here is real-time retargeting, which I believe we should be able to find in this graph editor somewhere. I never
Well,
actually looked for it though.
if it's not here, it could be on the parent.
It should be saying drive the character from. Well, at least this is usually how it is, unless it's part of the construction event. But there's, from the parent. That's what you're saying. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
because it's the parent.
Yeah, it
They
does
make
seem like
one
the parent.
character and make a bunch of different child classes off of that. So that some of it's I've seen some of it with working with SDA, so was able to
Right.
play around a little bit with it.
Yeah, that's right. Here's our event graph. Ground. That's it. That's all it is.
Unless it's running off of the animation blueprint, but
Well, it could. I mean, there will be an element of animation blueprint, but I would have assumed that it requires some hookup in here, like with the parent humans.
the in the functions tab, get character animation instance, maybe.
So it's going to get the anim instance of the mesh of mesh. Mesh is the parent one.
That
That's
one.
this one. So my mesh is somehow, I would have thought, but we'll check out. We'll keep looking. I don't know. I mean, it's not super important that we figure this out.
Huh.
I was curious to see
Well,
what
it's
they
got
were
an
doing.
output, so wherever that function's being called is gonna get that information.
Yeah. Retarget source mesh goes to the retarget pose from mesh. So that definitely comes across. And I forget how this works, but they got the retargeter here. This is the retarget source for mesh. I don't know.
Maybe in
That
the event graph, there's some more because it's a
yeah.
variable. The event graph inside the animation blueprint, maybe.
Um, this opens up the retargeter. I think what's going on is it's going to be in here, and there's somewhere in here that it is outputting the data to a source, but I could be wrong. It could just be like this animation blueprint. You just use this node, retarget mesh source. Is there any reference to a particular skeleton? I'm not sure.
So they might be setting that variable inside the event graph inside the animation blueprint. Since this is the inside this in the viewport you're in right now, there's an event graph tab up there. That one.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's casting. It might be, yeah, see, it's setting the source mesh in this blueprint.
Setting that from here. It's the mesh. Oh yeah, it's grabbing the mesh of this blueprint.
So that's where it's connecting it. Yeah.
Okay. There you go. I think you figured it out. I still don't really know where that mesh. This is called retarget source mesh. Oh yeah, that is. It's called retarget source mesh. And then this is just going through the retargeter dynamically and then putting it through here. Interesting.
That is interesting. I mean, that's pretty. I'm not sure if I've seen a character set up like that before, so that's pretty cool.
Yeah, from the animation sample project, the one where they have all this retargeting.
The parkour one where it's like the predicting one.
Yeah, that's right. They do the same concept where they retarget on the fly like this, but yeah, they handle it differently. I'm pretty sure. Although who knows? Maybe I'm just forgetting. Anyways, so it goes through this retargeter. So I guess this is where I wanted to go anyways. So this is the retargeter, but this is the new interface for 5.6. So 5.7, they have a little bit of changes as well. We'll talk about that a little bit. The big difference is the fact that they have this stack of how they do it. So if I grab, maybe we'll get some examples going on here. So first of all, they put all this debug drawing stuff on here for whatever reason they thought that needed to be default on. You can turn it off over here by making the master. This is like the master checkbox, but then inside of each one of these stacks, you can also turn off more debug draws more individually if you need to. So it depends on how you want to do it. And if you just deselect the stacks, then you get back to the main menu. And this is where you get all your information of like, well, how far away do you want it? Who's your source? Who's your default target? The settings have been simplified. You don't have all this like stuff clumped together. So then you just have this stack going on. And we've got our pelvis motion. So if I turn that off, you can toggle it on off right on the stack and see what influence it has. You can even change the order, which I don't know if that will matter here or not. I don't know. Maybe it will. Never really thought about how pelvis might make a difference in terms of order.
Yeah.
But it's still pretty cool that you could, like, this is pretty cool that you get to control the order of operations. So I think it's pretty neat. Here's our retarget FK chains. So there was some FK chains going on here. We've got actually, I'm surprised there was so much still working. So there must be a lot of IK going on here. If I turn off IK and then we turn off FK, we're just gonna have a T-pose. So there is quite a bit of IK happening here to keep those hands connected, which probably is specifically so that the guns stick to the hand properly. So if you have, this character is holding onto a gun and it needs to be just in the right spot where this hand is also holding on the same gun. So if you put in the eye.
Some characters I guess run with both. I normally just use the left, but some use both and then move the gun, and then the IKs follow the gun. So
yeah, well, I mean, in theory, you could be conscious of setting it up so that if you're going to attach a weapon, you attach it to my mesh instead of mesh, and that could be like a way to make it work. But if it was assigned to mesh, the mesh's hand, then in theory the two of them should be the same, or at least, I don't know, maybe I'm wrong. But anyway, what's kind of interesting about this is that you could be like, oh, you know what, something's acting a little weird. You can just be like, you can get rid of the whole stack. You're like, oh no, and then you just say, well, over on 5.6 the option is here, in 5.7 the options are going to be over here now. But you just say boop and it puts them all back in.
Whoa.
So you can screw it up, you can put it back, and each one of these groups have their own custom settings. So for the IK rig, you can decide how you're assigning the IK target controls to the source targets. And here you can decide how the FK controls are being lined up. So in case something got screwed up, which sometimes it does. But this one seems to be working okay just out of the gate. And if we jump into the actual IK rig instead of the IK retargeter, you can see they've added it. So they have the goals here added for the left arm and the right arm, so that this is our IKs that were attached. Looks like it's a full body IK. So these ones are already set up. I don't need to break them.
Yeah, be careful. It's the GameKit. You break one,
right? Yeah,
the domino effect is pretty deep.
I bet it is, actually. That's probably a wise words. Anyway, so to get to the point of what I'm trying to solve here is the student wanted to get more animations. Was it more? No, a custom character into here so that the custom character would be running off of these animations, or even custom animations. I mean, that could be this challenge too. I have a custom animation, but if that custom animation is not compatible with the Manny, because this is the source, it's never going to drive the Sentry character or the Senti character. And the Senti character does not use the same skeleton bone naming convention as the mannequin or any epic skeleton. So they are actually two different skeleton types. So they always have to be like.
So you'd almost have to do like a double retarget, like retarget it to the Manny, and then the Manny retargets to the Senti.
Yeah, but you wouldn't have to worry about that part. You only have to do is if the animation is looking good on Manny, then it should retarget just fine through this dynamic system that's happening in real time.
Nice.
And that could be a solution, but the way Jason was phrasing it is that he doesn't really want it to be like this. He'd rather if the system wasn't retargeting on the fly, because I guess that's, I mean, I would assume that's got some overhead on it.
Yeah, I can imagine, but it would be better to set it up just you drop the character in and you put the animations directly to that character.
Yeah, it would seem more intuitive, and because now it's a bit weird that you're kind of limited probably because you can only get away with so much extreme contrast because it all has to come back and retarget on the fly. You can't. Sometimes if you try to do retargeting, like it'll work pretty good, but it still needs an animator to go through it and polish it.
Do some cleanup. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So, and you don't get that choice when you're dealing with real-time conversions like this. So you're going to have a little bit of, like, luckily the character is so stylized and simplified that you can get away with a lot of things that are, nobody cares. So I think he wants to switch it eventually so that it doesn't do this dynamic retargeting, which would mean you'd have to, retarget to this character. But I think from what he said, the newer versions of where these packs are coming from are using a different character skeleton that's more compatible, so that that conversion isn't quite as painful. But it's not nearly as bad as trying to use a Mixamo skeleton, which was one of the things I was going to get into today, because I think that's that could be one of the sources that you're thinking about getting your animation from, and it's like, oh, that's full of challenges.
Yeah, as we've talked about a few times before on this call.
yeah, we've gone over this one.
I've
a number of times
tried.
I just wanted to clarify, or at least point out that the retargeting asset.
Because they have a custom one.
Yeah, I should have just not closed all my windows.
Well, you should be able to find it under the animation blueprint if you can't remember where the file path is.
Yeah, I don't think I can, because I'm looking at it going, where's the...
Yeah, I mean, I love the magnifying glass on the folder. Like, it's the best. I love that.
You just locate
Without that, I would never remember where anything is. I would never find anything. I don't think I would have made it this far without that. I really wouldn't have.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Sometimes these folders are just, you just spend more time looking for something than you actually get anything done.
So is that a custom one they built then, or did they get that from the third-person template?
I would assume they built this one, or at least duplicated it at the very least, but they're pretty easy to make. I mean, as long as you got the IK rigs, you can just generate them. And the most important part is you get the T poses right. So if you go over here and you switch to edit target poses and you jump over to hierarchy again, you need to make sure that these two poses are as close as possible together. It can be a T pose, it can be an A pose, doesn't matter which way you do it, but they both have to be the same. And as soon as if you got an A pose and a T pose, then they're not going to be compatible, and you're going to see weird distortions in all of your retargeting. And the reason why, and the reason why we like doing a T pose is because we don't have this arbitrary angles to worry about. Like, we don't know what degree that is, we don't know what degree that is, and
it's much more exact. Yeah, I remember you telling me about that one now.
Yeah, that's right. Because I mean, if you use Motionbuilder or whatever, you have to use a T pose. But in this one, you can use whatever, an A pose if you want to. But yeah, even in this case, like, the arms aren't quite bent as much as this. So that's probably causing some challenges in the retargeting. And I guess in the argument of how do you fix it,
you make them both T poses.
Well, you could. I mean, there is a button for that, so maybe we should try that too. So we've got your source, which is in this case the Manny, and you got your target, which is going to be the Senti character. And so each of them have, once you switch back and forth, they all have a new set of poses and a new set of options, because you're going to be modifying one skeleton or another to match these T poses together, or whatever the retargeting poses. So there is a button that's called auto align. See what happens here. So it tries to push the skeleton into the spot. That actually looks pretty close.
Yeah, it does.
And so this is a feature that came out, I think, I don't know, 5.5, or it wasn't very long ago. And maybe in 5.7, maybe they keep refining it. I don't know, it's hard to tell. The feet look a little bit bent up, so I'm gonna grab these and do a little manual tweak. Oh no, grab the leg. Want the foot. Okay. If I grab both of them, then it works pretty good. Oh, we got somebody coming in.
All right, fresh faces.
Yeah, I just have to figure out how to make it work. You admit. Here we go.
Oh yeah, so I guess we can't just join straight in anymore. You always have to.
Yeah. Well, if I could fix that, maybe one day I'll figure out how to fix that. Make it so that you can jump.
Google Meets might not let you. It might just be part of their function.
Yeah, it is possible, or maybe it's an admin thing. Hey, Nelly, welcome.
Hi, how's it going?
It's going good. How are you doing?
Got a little bit stuck in traffic, so I was not able to join as soon as I wanted. Also not at my computer now, unfortunately, but I'm definitely interested in seeing what's going on here.
Nice.
Sweet.
Also, hi, Eric.
Hi, yeah, I was wondering. I was like, is that you, Nell?
Sure is.
Nice.
It's great to have you here. I'm really happy to have people looking forward to jumping in and seeing what we're doing here. Did you have any questions you wanted me to talk about? I mean, I'm also here to help solve anything you have.
Well, I was having some issues with the retargeting, and I think I'd like almost gotten it sorted a little bit earlier, but then my computer crashed. So I have not had a chance to get back on that since then, unfortunately.
Okay.
But I think some of those videos that I think it was Jason that he sent, those have been pretty helpful so far.
Nice. And they talk about how to retarget.
Yeah.
See, what I'm trying to talk about in at this moment, or demonstrate anyways, is that we're in the GameKit and we're talking about retargeting and just exploring how the system is currently handling the animations, but also looking at ways of, like, what the retargeter, the new workflow with the retargeter since 5.6 looks like and what's changed and stuff like that. So
awesome.
If there's anything in there that you're like, how does that work? Just jump out and reach out and say something, because I can explain it more carefully.
Awesome. Thank you. Yeah.
So we're going to use this auto align bones just for fun to see what happens here. I can't quite guarantee it's not going to distort the character, but it sure does look like it's closer. So that's good. And then as soon as you do it, oh, I'm hearing myself talk through Nelly.
Sorry, I'll mute myself for a sec.
Yeah, you're reprojecting me. It's back to me again.
You're like, what is this mirror dimension?
So that pose got saved into the Manny retarget because it was the one that was highlighted. So I can still go back to the default pose and then jump back to where it was. So that's
it's
how
funny that the default pose is a T in that one. So
well, it's the Manny doesn't have a default pose. That's the problem.
Right.
But it should.
But maybe that's why they're
realistically.
wanting to make a new system where it's like, well, we can go from more of your perspective. If we have a T pose, it would make teaching a little bit easier rather than trying to bend over for the A pose.
One of the I don't know why they have never put a T pose as one of the default skeletons for the third person's template. But I guess in theory, there's no reason why you can't do an A pose as well. So I guess that's might be part of it.
It's probably the same reason why America decided to go with inches while the majority of the world does metric. It's like, we want to be original, so we're going to fight it.
Yeah, A poses is imperial. That's funny.
That is funny.
I think there was at one time a pose in here for T poses, but it's even when I was in the fellowship, the animation fellowship, same problem. They were still talking about here's a pose. I'll upload you a pose so that you have the perfect T pose. Because even the fingers need to be kind of like matching too, right? So you want fingers to be nice and straight for both characters so that when they turn, they go properly. So it's more than just getting the arms up. It's about getting the wrists rotated correctly and all this other stuff. Which, I mean, in theory, auto align in this case seems to be working pretty good. So we'll see what happens. I'm going to come out of editing retarget pose and move back to run retargeter. And then when I click on one of these animations, I should be able to see the results of this new retargeting. Hopefully the feet will be pretty flat. Maybe we'll do, okay, we're going to do run forward. Or no, walk forward is good because they don't go so fast. And they have a speed adjustment, which I use often to make sure that I can see anything that's subtle. But generally, two
fingers, it's the middle fingers.
Yeah, well, I actually don't know. Oh, yeah, you're right.
Yeah. It's because you have 3 on that character, and there's obviously 4 on the Manny.
Yeah. Okay,
interesting.
Well, I think we can take a look at that. Let's see if we can solve that one. So we're going to jump over to our op stack, which is the new 5.6 way that they handle all this conversions. And I assume the fingers are probably going to be FK chains, not an fancy IK chain. And we're going to look for things around the fingers. Oh, they don't have any fingers. How did one of the fingers work then? You must have the fingers incorporated. Oh, here we go. We've got right thumb index is part of the thumb. Okay, so we do have some fingers. The Manny will probably have a setup for it that has more than just the thumb and the index. Something may not be matching. I'm not really sure what this is all about. Left new retarget I don't know what that's trying to say there. Chain. Left new retarget chain. It's going to the left lower arm? Oh, we don't know. It's a mystery. It really is a mystery. I don't know.
Oh, arm twist. We have options. Wow. Yeah, that's going to be.
Oh, there we go. I can drag it that way. Yeah, arm twist 01. Weird. Let's just jump over to the IK asset. This is the setup for this particular character and see. We've got this finger and that finger working, but we don't have this one working. And it's called the left new retarget chain. Okay, so left new retarget chain is this. This is the target chain. This is the source chain. We're using the arm twist for our finger. No wonder we're getting weird results. So let's use, I don't know what, we can just use any other finger. Maybe we'll use the middle finger on, did I get the right finger? No, I got the wrong hand. So this is the left.
Left middle finger.
Oh my gosh, what have I done here? Oh, here it is. Left middle.
Left middle.
And then this one's going to be the right middle. It might have already been fixed, and I broke it when I deleted everything and rebuilt it all.
Who's
but
to
those
say?
are, but this is important to talk about because this is one of those subtle things where you're like, what? Why isn't it working? And then you're like, oh, it's just about working.
Well, it's not so straight. It's definitely curved now, so it's definitely changed a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, in theory, I guess I could use the same finger twice, and it would be more of like a mitten. But I'd like, or maybe a ring finger would be better because it's a bit more in a balanced spot.
Well, yeah, I mean,
basically 3 fingers in
there's
one.
3 fingers, so that means
Yeah.
we should do the pointer, the middle, and the ring. Yeah, we basically just wouldn't transfer over the pinky.
Yeah. Now it seems a little closer.
There you go. I mean, it is also just kind of a crude mesh, so it's just kind of like you're always kind of gonna have like those baseball mitts. So
yeah, but even that little bit of work you do on that to make that work,
I was like, yeah, so satisfying and so much better. Like the quality, you know.
Yeah, it has such an impact, and it's possible also. Like just the way that those fingers are very curled, and these ones are not, makes me think that there might be something else that's going on. That's the chain is not starting and ending equally. Like we've got.
Well, the whole thing's called chain. I'm not sure if it's chain 1, chain 2, chain 3.
It is 4 joints in that chain. So let's go compare that with what's going on with the Manny, because the Manny's using this left index as their naming convention. So I'm going to deselect the stack, which shows me the menu of all the different options here. And I'm going to jump to the IK rig for the Manny so that we can take a look at how the fingers are manipulated. And we're looking at the ring. So yeah, we got the metacarpal, and then we have 3 ring joints, rather than 4 in that chain.
That's pretty busy. But the metacarpal's like up much higher into the hand.
Yeah, that's right.
Whereas in the Cinti, the 4th one, like instead of where the metacarpal is, it's like where the knuckle is. So it's like pushing it. Yeah.
This last joint is a bit of a null joint. Like it doesn't have a purpose. This one ends right where the knuckle is on the finger, and this one ends at the very tip of the finger. So usually that would be a null joint. So in theory, we should probably get rid of that last joint in the chain, which is totally doable. So
if you have the screen space. Oh.
yeah, exactly. So right now we're saying go from chain 1 to 4, but we're just going to bring it back to 3. We'll have to do that to this one as well. And I mean, in theory, I think we can rename this to something else. Right? Knit. So they gotta find out what the terminology is for puppets. And then we're gonna save that and jump back here, and we're probably broken something, I bet. Oh no, look at that. The fingers are already curling.
They're curled. Yeah.
Yeah, look at that.
How about that? Is it
nice?
Are they really separate, or from that angle it looks like those fingers are almost like together? Like it's like the other 2 are kind of like fused together.
I think they are, because I only see one like skeleton thing in there.
Yeah.
Like 3 in total, not 3 plus the sum.
So there's 3 fingers, but there's only 2 sets of chains.
One chain. Yeah. One set of bones represents 3 fingers. This one represents a 4th finger, and then the thumb. So when that came through, left mitt.
Very Disney Channel.
Yeah, it does make it a lot easier for both the animator and the. And when you've got a stylized character like that, it actually helps the realism as well, because you just like your brain just fills in the gaps of what's missing. But yeah, they're really closing his fingers there, and we're getting some of that, but I don't know. It's not. I don't think the weighting, the skinning. See, the joints look like they're curling enough. It's just the skinning isn't quite representing 100%.
The weights, you mean? Yeah, right?
The weights of the joints to the bone. It just doesn't quite 1-to-1, which is totally fine. It looks pretty good. I'm not worried. But it's just interesting that you might think it's broken, but I think that is actually accurate to what it's supposed to do.
Okay.
Yeah,
well, the hand looks much better than where you found it. So
yeah, I think that was
already
an
cleaned it
improvement.
up.
And we know that that one wasn't something I did before because we had to go back to the main character.
Well, I mean, even if you did it, like you said, it's like you're creating a teachable moment. Like I know you showed me a couple times, but it's all about repetition. That's how you learn these things. So
yeah, that's right.
I'll take it.
And I mean, honestly, a technical animator, this would be their responsibility anyways. So. Character looks a little wonky when he runs, so I don't know if we've really improved it. we got a slight angle on the top part of the body.
Is that because you're looking down? Like, are they adding another thing where the camera kind of does that?
It's possible. It's also possible that it's possible that the actual run itself looks like that. Let's jump over to the run. But this is the thing, when you've got live retargeting happening like this, you don't really get to control the look very well, except for going in and making adjustments overall, which affects all your animations instead of just that one.
Yeah, that's really interesting. Yeah, it's not like a cleanup where it's just like it's baked, it's set, it's approximation.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, that's right. Which is good and bad.
I mean, yeah, there's a purpose for it for sure, but
yeah, because I mean, in theory, all I have to do is hit this export selected animations, and I can pick all the animations. I could make separate versions of it, but because of the way the setup is, using where it does it in real time, it doesn't matter if I bake it out or not. It's not going to make a difference to solving the problem.
Yeah.
Oh, he's there. There he is. I think this also always tick on refresh bone was something that had to be adjusted or something. I remember there was this very sneaky thing. Oh, when you turn the visibility off of the character that's retargeting, you need to make sure that this is still ticking, which I thought was like this, or I don't know. I thought it was a different one. Not rendered. I don't know. Anyways, it was one of these, like the character, if you hid the mesh that we were targeting from, this character would just be static. And it's like, no, I want you to retarget it. And so there was a advanced visibility tick option or something that had to be modified for that tab.
Interesting. Well, that kind of makes sense.
Yeah.
Because sometimes, like, if you attach stuff to other objects and then hide the object, well, now you don't get any of the children components you attached it to. So that it checks out.
Yeah.
I never would have found that though. So I'm happy you pointed that out.
Yeah.
I didn't know. Yeah.
Trial and error. Yeah. Well, you can see his fingers are curling, so that's good. I am a little disappointed by the feeling that he's just running a little bit on an angle there. I don't know whether that was the auto. It seems totally better in the actual retargeter. So I don't know whether it's possible that the two T-poses aren't quite aligned, and for some reason this character is slightly warped, especially when you use that auto. We'll jump back over there, editing auto poses. Like when we push that button right here that said auto align, is it possible that it didn't quite get the shoulders right, or the spine is rotated a slight degree or something? And
I mean, it did move the shoulders. You could instantly tell, but like you said, how close did it get? It's approximations.
Yeah, you got 7 degrees rotation on there, but that's going backwards. So
we wanted the 7.
Yeah, I don't think that's causing the issue that we're.
Otherwise, he's just gonna be like.
Yeah, because you got to get these two T-poses to look exactly as close as you can, because the closer they are, the more they're going to act, but without distorting your character. Like it has to be a pose that it naturally tries to align to. And this is the same problem when you're doing mocap, and you get saw the person do a T-pose. Like they can do a T-pose, but you can do T-poses with your shoulders up and shoulders down, your hands rotated one way or another, or you're bent forward, or your neck's forward, or your head back. Like you can still screw up your T-pose.
So what you're saying is, if I'm doing mocap, I should have the person like lay on their back and do the T-pose and just rotate them in.
Wow, nobody's ever said that before.
I don't know. I don't know. That just seemed kind of like a good idea. I don't know.
Oh, but you wouldn't be able to track the markers in the back, so I guess that would be. But interesting. Anyways, I mean, I see where you're going with that. You'd have a more stable.
Just like stand them up against a board or something.
Yeah, there's like a chalk outline of a person in the bottom. Follow this chalk outline.
Oh, that's interesting. I mean, I've never worked with the mocap, so that's kind of would be an interesting thing to keep in the back of my head.
Yeah, and that's exactly what this tool is for, though, is to help offset and compensate for, those slight mismatches that might be happening. So it's good that they have this tool. I mean, I actually really like this retargeter. I think it's a huge improvement from how you could retarget in Motionbuilder. We had Motionbuilder in our course content, and then we took it out because I'm like, I don't think this is where people are like, you can, as a job, people are still using Motionbuilder. You'll still find it all over the place. Like, it's a pretty interesting skill. But as somebody who's using Unreal to make things, I just think this is where you want to be. You would use this tool before you use Motionbuilder, in my opinion, at this stage, because it has so many interesting features, and they keep improving it, doing things that are like, wow, this is really smart. I really like what they're trying to do here. So I do think this is probably one of the best ways to retarget things of all your choices, in my opinion. Like, there's just not a lot of competition in this space.
Sweet.
Yeah.
It's good to know.
And it's just getting better.
It definitely has. I mean, when I first did the game design course with 5.5, I mean, it's definitely already is huge improvement. So, or at least from a very basic non-technical understanding of it, I would say you can see the difference not knowing what it's doing,
Yeah.
I mean, you taught me some of it, but it's like
well, sometimes it's user error, so there's that.
Oh,
but
yeah.
I know that the first time that I was trying to use this tool, I was unable to solve things like feet sliding, really important basic stuff. And I'm like, yeah, no, this is not good. But at the same time, hey, I mean, it's an option. If you don't have any other solutions, this is something. But it got better, and now it's gotten to the point where not only are the feet not sliding, but they're also making adaptations so that if your source and your target are so different in proportions that, as the character moves their hand over in front of their body, it will now intelligently say, well, your hand is going through your body, I better stop it. Like, it will know reactively to stop. That's what I understand. I haven't actually tested this. This is something that came out 5.7, maybe 5.6, but I haven't actually, I just keep seeing them promote it, but I haven't actually tried it. But it is one of the catches. You get a two-handed weapon, for example. This is exactly where this happens. Two-handed weapon, you got your hand on one gun, two hands on the gun. It's all about the length of your shoulders. I mean, you have to do something. If you retarget this perfectly from one character to another, but their shoulders are more narrow or more wide, or their arms are shorter or longer, they're not going to touch the gun properly anymore. One of the hands is going to get skewed. And so, you can put IK targets, which is what they have. They have these IK rigs, and you can get them to assign. But then you still have scenarios where, this limb will not go in a spot that's weird, or things will happen that doesn't work for the body. And so someone will have to go in there and tweak it manually. But if they have the ability to be more intelligent and adapt to it through procedural things, then it makes it so that there's a lot more. I don't know. It opens up the door to all kinds of new ideas. I mean, you can have the character become super small, super big, or super weird, and you can still run the same original animations. I mean, that you can really proceduralize your entire game. Like, it opens up all kinds of weird ideas.
Yeah, it's really cool. Yeah, considering since so many games, like in the last 10 years, most characters are similar sizes. I gotta know. Everything you just said there, I think of like Metal Gear Solid 5. Like, they're all very similar sizes, so it doesn't matter. But now you can change it. Yeah.
Yeah. Even on Batman, it was like all the characters, all the thugs were all exactly the same size. I think we made it so some of them were fat or whatever, but they were all standardized too. It was like everything had to be the same, because you were going to share all their animations, and we didn't want to have like libraries of animations for each character. You wanted them all to be using the same. Batman had its own size. He was his own dimensions. But
yeah, you got to have the boulder shoulders of
yeah.
Batman.
Yeah, he was bigger than everyone else. But
That's right.
But all the thugs were, and anytime we did a variation, it would always be like even the police and the thugs and the random pedestrian, or anyone else who was in there. I don't know if there wasn't really any pedestrians, but anybody else who was in the scene, we're all like matching the same scale and size so that we could share all the animations. I mean, it worked. It made sense, but there's a lot more creative ideas that you could do with that.
Yeah, like you said, be able to expand and take the games to newer places they haven't gone before.
Yeah, exactly. All right, I guess I better wrap it up. It's okay that we're a little over because we started a little late as I was having some technical issues. But thanks for coming and joining here, Eric and Nelly, as you as well. Welcome to join every week. I'm going to keep doing this. We had some discussions. Yeah. We had some discussions that we might do some guest visiting for these sessions. I was talking to Daniel about getting some VFX, bringing him in to talk about the Houdini pipeline, just so that we can cross compare between pipelines. I don't know what he worries about, the problems he worries about. He doesn't know what the problems I worry about. So just to have a chat back and forth could be really enlightening for both of us, and make for an interesting discussion, because we wouldn't be assuming anything like that. We don't, because I'd be like asking very basic questions like, so what exactly do you render with in Houdini? How do you start a render? I don't even know. And then vice versa. So it could make for interesting things. I know Nicholas from Visualization Department Head, he wants to talk about his stuff as well. And so he can definitely, everybody's welcome to kind of join these sessions, and we can kind of like make them into events. But at the moment, I've got plenty of things I can talk about, technical issues as well for in Unreal. And of course, these sessions are for the community, so that if anybody has any questions or problems they want to talk about with their own personal project, that is, for me, the gold mine. That's the best part, is when we start solving their problems, because then you get into all kinds of cool, fun things that are appropriate or make sense to the context of what we're trying to do, and they actually learn and you progress. So rather than just talking about something randomly, it has context. So yeah, we'll try to do that.
Awesome.
And I'll leave it there, and we'll wrap it up. Thanks again, everybody, for joining us. And
thanks for hosting.
Yeah, we'll see you next week.
Yeah, take it easy, Simon. Bye now.
Bye. Take care.
Bye, everybody.